Welcome back to another devotional in the book of Proverbs. Today, we are in Proverbs chapter 17, where we will see that there is a major intruder in your home. That there is something that is trying to destroy your home from the inside. It is strife. It is anger and bitterness in the home. And we'll look at this danger, and then we'll see in this chapter how we can prevent it, how we can stop the strife from corrupting and destroying our home. So if you've already prayed on your own, and if you've already read Proverbs chapter 17 on your own, then let's dive in. What if I told you that the biggest threat to your home right now is not anything found on the outside trying to attack it, but something that is found on the inside? The biggest threat to your home is strife and anger and bitterness. Let's look at our first verse today, Proverbs chapter 17, verse 1. It says this: "Better is a dry morsel and tranquility with it than a house full of feasting with strife." This is saying that it would be better to be poor, to have nothing, and to sit around the dinner table with your family and eat dry, gross, undesirable bread, but have unity and harmony and love and quiet in the house. This is better than to sit around with a full feast with your family, but have strife and anger and disunity among each other. It is better to be poor and quiet than feasting with strife. We always are pointed back to our hearts, and the most important thing to focus on is our hearts towards Yahweh and towards one another, isn't it? Doesn't matter if your home is rich and you've got all the good snacks in the pantry. If your home is filled with pride and shameful words and actions, then it doesn't matter. It is no good to Yahweh. It is no good in His eyes. Look no further to any other member in your family to solve this issue. It is your responsibility to establish peace and prosperity within your home. It is you who must stop the strife in your home. It starts with you. So let's look in this chapter to see how we can avoid strife and anger and bitterness in our home and instead pursue harmony in our homes today. Let's look at our first verse, verse 9 in Proverbs chapter 17. It says this: "He who covers a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates close companions." We must develop a strong desire and quickness to forgive one another. Whenever evil is committed against us, or whenever somebody sins against us, or whenever we feel like we've been wronged in our home, we must quickly and immediately forgive them. Give them forgiveness. Do not kick or scream and let the whole house know that what has just happened to you was so wrong and you have just been the biggest victim. No, be quiet and be quick to forgive. Sometimes we think that the sins committed against us need to be known by everyone. We try to make our wounds seem so severe. Look what you've done to me. I am the biggest victim. No, that should not be our attitude. Let's shift our attention off of ourselves and be quick to forgive one another. Remember, the ones who walk in wisdoms are not the ones who seek vengeance, but rather we are so consumed with knowing more about God and with pleasing God that we don't seek vengeance. We're just consumed and concerned with pleasing Him. Remembering His great forgiveness towards us should drive us to quickly forgive any sin committed against us. All we are concerned about is honoring and pleasing Yahweh. Next, let's look at verse 14. In Proverbs 17, it says this: "The beginning of strife is like letting out water, so abandon the dispute before it breaks out." The picture is of a dam holding back water, and it's just about to burst if you keep digging and digging at it. Eventually, a small leak becomes a bigger leak, and bigger until it's uncontrollable, gets out of hand, and does severe damage. Now compare this to you confronting a person, maybe your brother or sister, who is visibly mad and visibly upset, and you just keep digging and digging and digging until they burst, until it causes severe damage. Maybe, just maybe, the way that you can protect your family and your home from great pains is by not having to always be right. You don't always have to be right. You do not always have to win every argument. You don't always have to prove your point. Even if you are just so convinced that you are right, that the other person is wrong, and that you are actually right in this situation, are you able to put your pride aside and love your brothers and sisters more than your desire to be right? Instead of continuing the argument, can we be an example of verse 17 in Proverbs 17? It says, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." Sometimes the best thing you could possibly do is just be quiet and just hold your tongue. And we see that in verses 27 through 28. It says, "He who holds back his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of discernment. Even an ignorant fool, when he keeps silent, is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is considered understanding." With all these things, we see that the biggest need for ourselves is self-control. We need a lot of self-control. Are you able to let go of your emotions, to not let them control you, but to instead fix your eyes upon Jesus? Remember the great forgiveness that He has shown you, and seek to show that same forgiveness and love to others and to everyone in your home. If we want to protect our homes, if we want a home that is pleasing to Yahweh, then look no further than your own efforts to have self-control and to forgive and love one another. Put yourselves last and do what is best for your home. Do what will be pleasing to Yahweh. This is your responsibility to eliminate and avoid any strife in your home. It starts with you. One last thing. Avoid any excuse to say, "This is just how my family is. We fight and we bicker, but at the end of the day, we still love each other." That may be how your family is, but that's not how your family should be. It starts with you. You must promote peace and prosperity in your home and make no allowance for any strife or anger or bitterness in your home. That is Proverbs chapter 17. I'll see you tomorrow for Proverbs chapter 18.